Good evening, everyone. Man, has it been a very long time since I've been on here. And I will tell you all, I am excited and thrilled to be back. I know it's been a long time. I know that there's a lot of wonder and thought, like, where do we go? What happened? And just to be a little bit open, I was having some challenges last year, and so it was just difficult to continue on into 2024 and get back on here and do the show. Had to work on a lot of different things that was happening on my side, and so had to focus some attention in some different places. Did that, and I have been looking for a reason to come back on and hang out with you all. And this awesome opportunity came up this week, and so that's what I'm doing. So before we get into that, I hope you all have been having a great time, and I'm trying to see if I can tell who's coming on and who's not. So, but yeah, I've missed you all. I know that Joe and Sandy, they would have loved to have come here too, and they may still show up, but this was kind of an off the cusp kind of thing. I was talking with a buddy of mine who's been helping me out, and he was like, man, I wanted to do some comic book stuff. And then he said that he had to go, and he got a lot of books actually that he was going to send off to this friend of his, this buddy of his. And he was telling me, he was like, man, I got all the book. And it's funny because he'd work through the days and telling me, hey, I got these books. I'm sending these books. I'm going to send these off and everything else. And I was like, okay, great. And he goes, dude, I was ready to ship these off. And then I saw the shipping, and it's pretty expensive. And the reason for that was because he's in Florida, and the place that he's sending them to he's in California. The place that he's sending them to is in Florida. And so these books, these cases of books, have to travel across the country, and it's going to cost a bit. And so, seeing as this is a charity type situation, the amount that was needed is going to be like, I think it was about $450, $500 to send these cases of comic books. And I've actually got the founder. He's in the green room. He'll be on in a second, and I'll have him speak about what this program is, so that you can do. You guys know that in the past, when we were running Christmases for kids, we were helping out the kids who were in the foster care system in Lubbock. And so, kind of in the same vein, in the same spirit, we found a similar organization, which I'll have JT share in a moment. But with that said, if you're joining us, say hello. I know it's been a while. I do plan to come back on, maybe even tomorrow night, Saturday and or Sunday, just to try to help get some awareness out for this and get some money help donated to JT's group. In that way, we can get these books sent off, hopefully by Monday, from Jack's house in California to the Foster Comics location in Florida. So with that being said, let me bring JT on. What's up, JT? How you doing?
Very good, brother. I appreciate you having me on very, very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for making this, coming on at a very late notice. So I know I hadn't even met JT yet. This is my first official time meeting him, but I have heard about you, JT, from Jack, a mutual friend of ours at Jam's Fortress Comics. You can find him on Instagram, and he's a great friend. And so he had been telling me, JT was like, man, I really want to. He actually, months ago, he was talking to me about wanting to donate a bunch of books somewhere. And he was like, I really want to find a good organization to send them to. And I was like, we can find something, I'm sure. And that's when he started telling me about you. And so I'm glad that he was able to connect and, get something worked out. But sounds like he just needs a little bit of extra help. So hopefully us doing this live, it'll introduce people to you and what you do. And then as they come in and see, they'll know where they can go to donate money, so that we can and figure out a way to word it so that that the people that are donating that money, it's specifically for the shipping of these books to you. So with that said, JT, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
My name is JT. If many of you guys do know me from Whatnot, it is Tank as well. So you can call me either. It doesn't matter to me. Just don't call me late for dinner. But my wife and I, we've been foster parents for the last 9 years. We have adopted our 2 sons out of foster care. We're currently caring for a almost 7-month-old little girl that is currently in a placement with us as well. And we had been looking for a way to kind of give back to that community for quite some time. And to be very honest, last December, January, my son, my older son, was about to turn 5, and we were giving him his own bedroom, kind of for his first time. And so we wanted to take the bedroom and really kind of make it his. And so we decided he's a superhero maniac. He loves superheroes. His favorite is Deadpool. He's 5. He's never even seen Deadpool, but the kid is obsessed. But we wanted to do his bedroom all up in Marvel and DC, and I had the idea. I'm like, let me go in and to some of my local comic shops, and I'll pick up a couple cool covers that we can hang on the wall and do some decor and everything. And I had collected on and off most of my life, and kind of got the itch going again. So I started collecting, found Whatnot, started purchasing books through there, and kind of just took off. And was getting a lot of books that weren't necessarily what I wanted to collect with my son. And so I was like, all right, let me maybe consider I'll start an online comic shop and start selling some books on eBay or one of those platforms to kind of, lack of a better term, fund the hobby.
Yes. And I feel that, because that's where I'm trying to get to next is I've gotten a nice collection. Let me see if I can start selling enough to fund it for me instead of me taking away from the family per se, and doing this. I feel you on that. Real quick, why don't you tell everyone, because I don't think Whatnot is really widely known by general folks. So maybe you can just talk a little bit real quick about you and Whatnot, what that is, and
Yeah, Whatnot. And I heard your explanation on a previous stream at one point, and I loved the way you described it. It is essentially a live selling platform of eBay. And I think the way you did it was a cross between eBay and the Home Shopping Network.
Yep.
It was probably the best description I had heard.
Thank you.
That's exactly what
I said. If they had a baby, if they got together and had a baby, that's what Whatnot would be.
And it is a live selling platform. And that was not my original plan was not to an honesty sell on Whatnot. That wasn't really the original goal. But we can get into that later.
Sure.
But so
So Whatnot, but real quick, Whatnot is not just for comic books, right?
It is not. Whatnot you can buy damn near anything on Whatnot. At this point, there's kind of the major hobbies of trading cards and sports cards and comics, but then you have stuff like shoes and handbags and jewelry and
I've even seen baked goods on there.
I know I've got a very good friend of the show that is a seller, and she sells freeze dried candy.
Now that's good. I made the mistake of my first food purchase from Whatnot was cake in a jar. It was like, honestly, it was like my second purchase on Whatnot ever, and it was the summer, like 2 years ago. And
I don't know how that ships.
Don't ever buy cake in a jar. Freeze dried candy, freeze dried cake might have been a better choice than cake in a jar. We won't even discuss what it came looking like. All right, man. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I will just tell you, I had to get it and be like, oh, and then just go right in the trash.
Yeah, just straight in the trash.
Yeah. But I've seen other sellers who do it great, like you said, freeze dried candy. People who sell bread, cookies, things like that in airtight containers, and so I'm like, okay, that's a lot better than what I got.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I said, I've probably been around Whatnot for about a year now, or coming close to it, and it's one of those platforms that, like, you're only dipping your toes into it, going into it. And the nice part is the community on a whole is very, very strong. Sellers, regardless of what platform they are in, or what market they're in, I should say, really look out for one another. And that is a very cool thing. I had a local, I was connected through another regular of our show to an RC and diecast seller.
Really?
And we found out that we weren't too far from one another. He was down in Miami. And we instantly connected and he wanted to support the show. So he was starting to collect RCs and die casts and etc. for to donate to our toy drive that we're just wrapping up on.
I saw the pictures on your Instagram, guys. While you're watching, if you want to go check out on Instagram, go check JT on their Instagram. It's at Fostered Comics, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to put that on the bottom of the screen so you guys can look at that. But yeah, go check out his Instagram and follow it. It's at Fostered Comics. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
And I've also been currently working on, and they're not all published yet, but I'm currently also working on our gallery on the website to show off some of the pictures that I had been unfortunately slacking on a bit, getting everything updated. When it's a two-man show and it's me and my wife that are handling everything. Sometimes stuff like, unfortunately, the social medias and the website sharing and stuff along those lines sometimes gets put off and sometimes too long.
I understand
that. I was just updating that right before we came on. So,
and as many of these whatnot shows or streams go, it's usually a lot of mom and pop businesses. So you guys have stuff that you personally collect at.
You froze up there, but yeah, there are a lot of small sellers on whatnot on a whole. And that's kind of the beauty of it is there are definitely the big sellers that are up there, and they're 10, 15, 20 people deep with warehouses full of products. But at the same time, there are also very many mom and pop shops that are people kind of doing exactly what I was saying, is supporting their habits and et cetera.
Oops. No, go ahead and finish out what you were saying. You were helping out. So
yeah, like I said, just supporting kind of their hobby and having a community around them. And very simply, I mean, the support I've received from not only the local comic community, but the whatnot community in a whole is the reason why we're doing what we're doing right now. We are coming up on a year. We have been able to completely fund all of our events and et cetera, specifically through donations and the fundraising through our whatnot streams.
That's amazing.
It's an awesome community. Our toy drive, we did a fundraising show, not this past Sunday, the Sunday previous, specifically for the toy drive. And we were able to raise over $700 in a couple hours of the stream between tips and sales. We spent last Sunday, we filled 5 shopping carts full of Christmas gifts and toys and et cetera, to add to the toy drive what we'd collected from all the local businesses. So the community is absolutely amazing. I can never speak highly enough about them.
Sure. Yeah, I will say that so I lost my job in February of this year, and I've been working to try to find something. I've got whatnot that's about to restart up, I should say, and then doing some gig work on the side to help make ends meet until I can land something. But I will say that being a part of the community and whatnot, they have always been really great people on there. Like, I know people can say, there's some jerks online and people can be whatever, but I'll be honest, while that may be true, I won't speak to that as much. But what I'll say is the people that are actually in the stream, like, there's always great banter going on, and there's great encouragement, and people gift things to other people often. I myself have been gifted some major works from other comic collectors, and it just blown my mind. I'm like, what did you send me? Holy cow. And just, some amazing things like that. So the community is definitely one that is giving. And I know that during times like this, they're just willing to give. I was trying to help Jack out with some ideas and other retailers actually on whatnot, on ideas. I was like, hey, when you sell a book, tell them, you can buy this book normally, or, put a higher price for the same book, but maybe like $3 or $4 more extra on it, and then say they'll get a book, and then they'll send a book to someone else, or give it to the retailer or the shop, and they can donate the stack of books. So as people are buying, then just figuring out ways to help give back to those who can help out. Now, funny thing about that is, why comics, JT? Why did you choose comics to give to kids?
Well, I mean, to be very honest, like I said, I had started kind of the collecting of it, and um, it was one of those that, and we started with kind of the comic aspect, but we've very rapidly figured out that we wanted to expand more into away from just comics. But that is obviously our base. But comic books are a way to give people an escape. The artistry in it gives a whole different aspect as far as a release of creativity and etc. I mean, I love, it's one of my favorite parts of comics in general is, yes, the stories, the heroes and everything are amazing, but all the different styles of artwork and stuff that you can see, and all the different takes that people can take a single character even and make it their own in so many different ways. From you have people that are, they're ultra realistic, and then you have people that are kind of I don't know if I want to say abstract, but I mean, an example like a Peach Momoko. It's not
I'm a big fan of hers, by the way. Yep.
I am too. It's not one that it's a super realistic, like you expect that to look like life.
It reminds me of the Final Fantasy art on the seat on the games, right?
Yes,
That very like you're saying, like it's hard to describe it, but it's a very artistic, garden flowing. Like I can only think of adjectives to describe that type of art, you know?
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts. And I mean, it's been very cool. With our very first fundraising show that we did, I actually had the idea to do an artist feature. And so we chose 3 small Whatnot artists that were doing their own artwork and selling on Whatnot. And all 3 of them, we did a small write-up on the website, posted some of their work that they had done. They donated a couple items into the fundraising stream that we were able to auction off to fundraise. And that's one of those that I really want to continue to expand. I'm currently setting up a few artists that I want to try to do another set probably in January, February. But it's one of those that I love the aspect of being able to show somebody that maybe an aspiring artist or something along those lines that, hey, your artwork doesn't have to look like this or this or this. You can take your artwork, make it what you want, and express yourself however you feel like you should. And it's great because I hadn't picked up a pencil in probably 20 years. And it was one of those that watching some of the sketch covers be created and some of the artwork, it was one of those that I started sketching again and drawing and doodling.
Oh, so you're an artist too?
I'm not an artist by any means whatsoever.
Dabble in the art, right?
Right, but it's something I do enjoy. I've sat down and done a lot of just teaching my younger son or my older son to draw a bit. They've come up with some wild ideas that I've tried to sketch up myself, and I've done a few sketch covers that are very very rudimentary, very basic, but they're fun, and that's what it's all about. You don't have to be Picasso or a Todd McFarlane.
You say that, but then I've seen some of the things that I've done, and some of the things that other people who I won't even say they're artists, just novice, and I'm kind of like, yeah, but you know what? You give me a pen and you tell me you need a story with this picture, it'll come right out like that in no time. So while I don't have the art skill, in this life, I definitely can make a story for nearly anything. But I love what you're saying. So, it's similar. There's an artist who I've been following for years, not a long time, but we'll say at least 3 years. Okay. Artist I saw on Facebook, he was drawing Spawn stuff. Spawn's my favorite. Okay. I've always loved Spawn since pre 92 days. Okay. But, so I gravitated towards him for that. But then an opportunity came up this year where I began to influence retailer exclusive covers. And so worked with that dude. This is by no means his work, like all of it, but he did this for us, for example. And so this is a Terminator issue 1, right? It's a Jam's Fortress exclusive.
Gorgeous cover.
This is legit. This is Jordan Noir. He drew this. And I remember when he told me the idea for this, and I was like, this is surreal. What are you talking about? and a lot of people don't know, but the original cover idea for this was going to have the words of what I can't remember his name, John, where he's talking about the Terminators, where you can't reason with it, you can't negotiate with it or anything else like that. It was supposed to be spread out all across the cover, but you find out your ideas and what the printer can do don't always match up, so you have to sacrifice somewhere. So
yeah, no, I've been following Jordan on Instagram for quite some time. Some of his
yes, he's a great artist. So when you are looking for those artists in January, February, let me know, because I work with Jordan often, and so I can see what he says. Here was his Department of Truth that he did. This thing is legit. It's a wraparound. I don't want to take it out because I don't want to ruin it, but her dress, it just flows on the back. And I'm a sucker for like long capes, long dresses, trench coat, whatever things like that.
Effect.
Yes. Freaking Todd. That's what he did, right? I'm not a Batman fan whatsoever, JT, but every time Todd draws a Batman, I'm like, I need it. I absolutely need it. Like, he just does it. Batman 423 is one of my favorite covers of his, and it's like, does he have two right arms on that cover or what? And I'm like, I don't care. I just want more of it. So,
but the cape's about 30 feet long. And
yes. So this year at what was it? I don't remember which convention it was, but he's got a giant, like 3-foot Batman statue where the cape is, it's the main character. It's like a crescent cape, and it is just huge. But Batman's, he's not as big as the cape is, and it's like, I want that. I want that so bad. I really do. So, but anyhow, I mentioned all this.
Well, that James probably has 3 of them, so.
Right? Yes. But yeah, and then I know other artists too, so maybe, I would be happy, more than happy, to help facilitate any type of.
Yeah, I would love to. Like I said, we have so far done very, like, small up and coming artists and stuff, but yeah, I would absolutely love to get some bigger artists featured as well. Like I said, it's such an amazing talent, and I was just talking to a regular on my show. His 15-year-old daughter is an amazing artist, and he was sending over some screenshots of some of the work that she's done. Mm-hmm. And so he's talking to her to see if we'd want to do it. Obviously, she's quite young, so she's still in school and etc. But it's one of those. I'm like, look, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. If she wants to send me some pictures of some artwork, I would love to. My hope would be at some point, if I could have anything to do with taking somebody that's an aspiring artist and maybe being that stepping stone to connect them with somebody that turns them into the next big thing, that would be amazing to say. Like, I had some part of it, whether it was just the person that made the connection. Like I said, I have no talent involved in doing it, but if I can make that connection between an artist and a superstar, it would be amazing.
I totally hear you out. Like, I was, one of my favorite artists of the last 5 years his name is Ivan Dow. I don't know if you know him, but Ivan, he was an artist that I just kind of like you. I was away from comic books for a while, came back in, and I started seeing some of his work, and I was just like, what in the world is going on here? His work is spectacular. I love this. And very recently, I got to work with him on creating a first cover with him. And so this is the Crow Dead Time.
Yeah.
This doesn't follow Eric Draven, but I worked with him and was like, Ivan, I want you to do a cover. And so one of the cool things about this cover, though, is that I got my logo on there.
Yeah, it was funny. I actually had a fellow, a very good friend of mine from the show, or from Whatnot. He was just at Dallas and was able to get a signature on a book, and I almost tried to reach out to James to see if I could get that in time, but I didn't have enough time to be able to get it from him and then get it. But The Crow is one of my all-time favorite books, so I was able to get a Obar signature.
Shut the front door. That is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, it came out beautiful. it's obviously it's a just the Dead Time issue 1. It's a pretty common book, but I'm like, look, this is the crow that I have that is going to take the signature best. I would kill to have a crow 1, but I didn't have one to be able to send out to him. But yeah,
I have so every night I have eBay tell me the prices for the Crow 1, the McFarlane cover one, back late 90s, because that's one of my grails is I want that. And I'm like, I put it on there. I can't afford it right now, but I'm like, I'm going to get that one day. My dream is to have it signed by both James and Todd and then encapsulate it and be like, yes, this is a personal grail of mine. That was gorgeous, though. That was gorgeous. I reached out to one of my friends in Facebook because she is a huge Crow fan. So hopefully she'll see this come back on, and then we can show her that book again because she'd love that.
Yeah, I had a few days, and I was scrambling trying. I'm like, well, what if I bought the Blu-ray and I had it sealed and had him send it out? I'm like, but then what the hell am I going to do with that? I don't think I can CGC a Blu-ray case. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to go.
I know they do it actually. They do. Yes,
I knew they do video games. I wasn't sure, but
they do video games. They do VHSs even.
I tried. I even was trying to see if I could find like an original print of the book, and not the comic, but the actual.
The novel.
The novel, and I finally was like, you know what? I'm either going to send something that's not going to make it in time, and I'm not going to get the signature, or I'm going to be forced to spend a ridiculous amount of money to get it done. I had this book sitting in my PC. I'm like, I'm just sending this one to you.
Yeah, nice. Jordan had a Funko Pop, the Crow, with Eric Draven that he drew on it, and I think he had it signed by him, or he sold it to someone who signed it by who had it signed by James, and they posted up on the Instagram, and it was all like, oh man, that was gorgeous. So yeah. I'm I remember the movie. I remember watching the television show, which honestly, super underrated. Mark Dacascos as Eric Draven. It was all like, you guys think Brandon Lee was built for Eric Draven in the movie? I'm not saying no to that at all because I support it, but Mark Dacascos doesn't get the credit he gets. He looks like an amazing Eric Draven on the television show.
And I may be a little biased. Like I said, The Crow is one of my all-time favorite movies. Obviously, the original. But I'm a big enough of a fan where I didn't mind 2, 3. I have not watched the most recent one yet, but I'm very much looking forward to when it releases on DVD or Blu-ray to grab it and catch it. Because as long as the way I took it originally when they first released and we're talking about, oh, this is a remake. You can't always look at stuff as a remake. You have to look at it as just another film and another adaptation of it.
Yeah,
no one's going to replace Brandon Lee in that movie. It's just that simple. You can't do it.
No, and I'm with you. I'm old enough where I feel like now I'm like, you know what? I'll give some folks a try and let's see what happens. And if it misses, I still have the original that I can always go back to and enjoy, like I did before the movie came out, the new movie. And so I feel it, but I want to give them a chance. We'll try. We'll see. Yeah. So anyway, let's go back to Foster Comics because I do want to show off your website because there was something on the website when I read it, JT, that really like got me, and I was like, man. So let me see if I can see it real quick. Here we go. So in the mission, let me just share the screen real quick. And okay. So right here, top of the screen. So you guys, you can go to fosteredcomics.com. It's a nonprofit. That's who JT is on here tonight. He's talking about Fostered Comics. We're just talking about comics in general and stuff. But you can go to his website and take a look through everything, and we'll have you walk us through a little bit of it here in a second, JT. But down here in this first section, you talk about kids in the foster care system. But there's this sentence right here, and it says, these kids are going through some of the roughest times in their young lives. Let's come together and provide some heroes that will always be there for them. And that really, like, man, that was a powerful statement on your website right there, because when I read that, it really made me think, I get that the kids are I'm going to say it's just an emotional time being in that type of system, right? Whether it's a happy time or sad time or anything else in between, it's just an emotional time, period. Okay. So, with that being said, this statement here, I feel like the connection that you make with comic books and the kids and how they can grow up from that, like it just, and it resonates, right? Because as a kid, as a former kid myself, remembering the comics that I read and thinking about them now, I think about how they connected me with my mom, and it brings lots of good memories for me, lots of good memories. And so I love that you're thinking like this, giving them something that they can, right? So, real quick, while I'm thinking about this, who was the character or characters for you, and all of you guys watching also, who were the characters in the comic books when you were young that this sentence kind of resonates with today?
Well, it's funny because I always had a huge connection to Green Lantern. I always loved Green Lantern, and it's funny because I don't necessarily collect a ton of Green Lantern to this day. But it was always kind of my first, like, The Blackest Night is still one of my favorite reads of all time. Like, that was just the one of the greatest story arcs. Um, but I was a huge Spawn fan as well. But my number one favorite, since I wasn't quite a child, I don't think at that point, but I was starting to grow up. I've been a huge Venom and Carnage fan since the beginning. Anybody that knows me on any of my streams will know that Venom is my weakness. There's no question.
Okay.
And it's one of those that I it's to the point where I have my PC of Venom books, but I will purchase Venom books just to make sure that I can then, they're duplicates that I can then share out to the rest of the community and show. Like, I am so excited for, in January we've got Eddie Brock Carnage coming out, and
I just saw that. I was like,
I'm
what? I
so
don't know why I
excited
never
for it.
saw that in my life, or you know what I mean? But geez, what a cool concept. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. But yeah, it's been one of those. Like I said earlier, my and obviously the kind of the norms. X-Men Wolverine was always a huge one as well.
Did you enjoy X-Men 97 this year?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I can't believe it didn't win the Grammy. I can't believe it got beat out by Blue Eyed Samurai.
I
Blue Eyed
think it
Samurai was
was
great, not X-Men great. No
no.
way.
And the trick was is I was very concerned, like I am usually when I hear that they're going to remake anything. I'm like,
Mhm.
don't screw it up, don't screw it up, don't screw. I mean, it's that simple. That's where I go all the time.
Yeah.
And I was very pleased with the way they made it a continuation of the old school. Like, that wasn't what I expected going into it. I
Yeah.
was really expecting more of like, hey, we're going to redo all this.
New costumes and new
Yeah.
background, everything. Yeah, I kind of felt I was like, we'll see.
And night one, the moment that theme song hit, it was like, yes.
Yeah, it brings back all those childhood memories. You're like, I remember Night of the Sentinels. I remember watching that the first time, and you know, so you remember when Pizza Hut, you collected enough, and they would give you Night of the Sentinels on the VHS, and so
Yep.
I must have had like a dozen of those as a kid, and we rewatched Night of the Sentinels over and over and over again, and so. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll tell you what, one of the things I enjoyed most from the X-Men 97 series on Disney Plus was the score. Like, the score. Okay, the best piece was Storm. I don't want to ruin it. Spoilers for anyone. There's a part where Storm, there's an epic event that happens for her. And it gets very dark and very scary, but then it turns into, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. I'm all like, there's a part where something crazy happens, and as they're doing all this, the music, the score is followed along with it perfectly. There's no more for like 3 minutes or so. There's no what am I trying to think? Like words. No one's talking anymore. It's just music and special or sound effects, and it is glorious. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, this alone should have won them all the animated plus awards, because this score, this story, this animation was spectacular. And I find myself going back to watch it over and over and over again.
the team did it so well because they not only pulled in that classic X-Men 97, but they almost tweaked it a little bit because they knew who was going to be the people watching it. Like they knew they could go a little bit more adult with it than the previous TV show had been.
Right.
Like even like my son who's about to be 6, he's like, "Oh, Daddy, I want to watch X-Men. I want to watch X-Men." And I'm like, we can watch some episodes, but there's going to be a few that I'm gonna hold off on, just because he's not going to understand some of the stuff that's going on. Deep. But there's some of it that he's gonna understand. So like we've been able to watch a couple episodes of it with him, but I've kind of had to pick and choose. But like I said, it was phenomenal. I can't wait for season 2 and see where they go with it because
I have my collection ready because let me just say, my number one villain of all comic books is Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Always has been. And I am just like, oh my gosh. And my number 2 villain of all comic book history and everything, Onslaught. And so I'm kind of like, oh God, if you bring Onslaught on the screen, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. I'm just going to lose it. I'm not going to be able to handle it. My head is going to explode if they bring Onslaught onto the animated show. I will. I'm telling you now. I'm just saying.
And it's only going to open up. And that's what I'm so excited about. There's they stuck to the original group for season 1 pretty solidly.
I agree.
But I can see it going so big, so quick. It's just it's phenomenal. I'm so excited for it.
So one of our viewers said, here was hers. She said it was Superman. And Sandy, I'm right there with you. I am a Superman fanatic also over here. You can't see, I think, but over here on the back wall, I've got some Superman stuff. For the longest time, I had all the Superman Shield comics over here on the side over too. But I am a Christopher Reeve original fan from the movies. I did like George Reeves and Dean Cain and all those other guys. But Christopher Reeve is my favorite. And from the comic books, I've always been a Superman fan as well. Huge.
Well, my original collection was a lot of the death of and that whole arc there was big. I had all of them. It was funny. I actually just got a box donated from my local comic shop, and it's got a bunch of the colored Shield logos in it. And I just picked it up earlier today. So.
Yeah, so when you get them pictures, because I want to see them, I always love seeing other people's collections and stuff. Because there's still like 2 or 3 shields I think I need, maybe 4. Definitely the pink bloody shield, the Steelworks one. I can't remember the other 2 right now off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, like I said, I literally just got them.
Oh, look at that!
I got them today.
Oh man, that was nice of them. I need to call them up and let them know who I am, just in case they have any more they want to gift out. Look at those.
Yeah, guy. It was kind of a wild box. It was one of my local comic shop. They were awesome with the toy drive. They actually had about 3.5 boxes of toys that we were able to pick up from them. But they have been awesome. I've got 3 of my local shops have donation boxes in their shops. So if people come in and want to donate books to me, then I can get them in. And guy came in with basically a short box full of books and wanted to sell them. And the shop was like, look, it's really not stuff that I'm looking for right now. And he goes, well, what is this Foster Comics box that you have back here? So the shop owner kind of gave him a rundown, and he goes, here's the box, give it to him. But
man,
it's got some. It's a lot of repeated books, which is very, very interesting. But like one of them never really took off anywhere. But it is.
Oh, I have that actually.
Well, why?
Dude, I totally have that. Yes,
and it's an embossed
the UK one.
Carnage. But to give you an idea.
Oh, get out of here!
He must have bought them all.
That is so fun seeing all those together, man.
And then I have probably 15 Lethal Protector 3s.
Look at that.
It's
fantastic.
It's I mean, it's just book after book of Lethal Protector 3 and the Wild Things. And it was.
Are there like 16 Dark Hawk issue 1s in there?
No, there's not. I've got a whole bunch of the Lethal Protector #3 and a whole bunch of the Wild Things, some Supermans, and then there's probably 15, 20 randoms. But
that's so fun though, man. That's so great. You have a collection bin at the comic shop at your local shop.
And it's actually it's one of my favorite things to do is kind of run through some of the donor boxes that I get. Because it's kind of like buying a collection, but I'm not buying the collection. So I get to kind of go through it, and I get a lot of stuff that's either inappropriate for the kids or just due to topic. I have to be very, very careful with books that I donate to the kids because of what they've gone through, what they've seen. I don't want to be the person that gives them a free book. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I have to be very, very careful. So unfortunately, stuff like Deadpool, Wolverine that are huge with the movie coming out and everything, I can't really give those out. So I go with a lot more of the kind of the all ages stuff for the younger kids. Mm-hmm. And then we really kind of dance that line of books that are appropriate to give to even the older kids. Yeah, Kyle, that's another great story arc, 100%. The Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, Kyle had said over here earlier, he said, I've always been more DC over Marvel. I used to play that game too, Kyle, bro. I used to play that game too. Now, I'm like, whatever I like, I like. I don't feel guilty anymore about liking Superman over at DC when I used to, or liking something over at Marvel. I'm like, I have just certain characters I like, and artists. I have certain artists that I like. So I get.
There was a time that I would have said 1,000% that I enjoyed the DC writing better than Marvel, but that kind of has bounced back and forth quite a bit.
Right.
Like Jeff Johns is one of my favorite writers. Has been.
Who? I'm so sorry. Say it again.
Jeff Johns.
Okay. Yep. Wildly popular.
Yeah, and he's one of my favorites. He did the Black. A lot of the.
Yeah, I was about to say, yep. His Green Lantern run is pretty historic.
But it's funny to watch. Like there's just because I've watched plenty of comic lines that like you're really into, and then all of a sudden something goes really sideways in the story, and it's like, oh, now you kind of lost me a bit on it. And
I'm not gonna lie, that's where I feel with DC. I'm like, how many years or how many universes, how many reboots are we gonna do on the DC side of things? I'm like, I've lost count. And you know, when the New 52 came out, I was like, okay, I'm just done now. I'm just done DC. I can't, like, I couldn't handle the characters. I couldn't handle the writing or the storytelling for New 52. I was like, I'm done. I'll just go with the art at this stage. And I did. And so I couldn't. And now that we're in the Absolute world, I actually picked up Absolute Superman issue 1 and read it. And I was like, wow. This is really, it's different. It's way different than anything DC has ever done with Superman, the Superman mythos.
Well, and I mean, just in the whole, like I enjoyed a lot of I was kind of along the same lines of like, there's only so many times you can redo the same storylines over and over and over. And I enjoyed some of like the smaller story arcs were great. Mm-hmm. But on the whole, it just didn't grab me the same way. But yeah, the Absolute, all three of them so far have been phenomenal.
I haven't read the other two yet, but I will say like I said earlier, I'm not a Batman fan at all, but I've heard the backstory for Absolute, and I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of like that. I like what I'm hearing. I mean, he's not a billionaire anymore. You know what he is? He's a freaking stray cat. Wildcat. What was it? You remember the cartoon? Was it Stray Cats or Wildcats? Not Wildcats, the image thing. I think it was Stray Cats, though, where they were just the cats in the junkyard, but they had a jet. One of them was a brute, strong guy. They were brothers, and the other one was the smart one. And they were, it was a cartoon back in the day. Anyway, that's what Absolute Batman is now. I'm like, he works in the junkyard. He is an everyday man, an engineer, and he's built all these crazy things. And it is like, I want I think I'm going to start reading that against my better judgment, but I think I'll be pleasantly surprised. And I hope you guys, when you start reading it, you let us know too what you thought about the Absolute. So I didn't know this, JT, but I learned later that Absolute is one of the Elseworlds in DC, right? And so because of Dark Knight's death metal, there are more universes again, more alternate realities. And so the Absolute universe is one where Darkseid, he kills the Spectre, takes his power or abilities or whatever and recreates the universe. And that's what the Absolute, and that's also why since he created in his image, yada yada, that's why everything in the Absolute is a little bit darker. And I'm like, I don't like the darker aspects, but I do like this different storytelling right now. I'm really digging it, man. So, anyhow, I know we're getting close to the end, but let me bring back your website. And then what I want you to do, if you can, is tell us, like, what do we do to donate?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways, and I've said this since we started this. No matter how you are able to support us is just as important. Obviously, the monetary donations are awesome. The product donations are awesome. If you can't, that's fine. Go on, follow some social medias, share our cause, because that's the biggest thing that we can do at this point is just get word out of what we're trying to do. I have been blowing up the email chains through MegaCon at this point because it's one of my fairly local cons. It's only about a 2.5 hour ride from me. Trying to just get somebody to let me set up enough to just, I don't want to sell anything. I don't want to be an exhibitor. I just want to go up and share our cause to the amount of people that are coming through. And then my backups, I'm working on Miami and Tampa as well. But I have been fighting like hell to try to find a human being to talk to and quit getting the blanketed response that I get from all of customer service from the team. But it's one of those, just sharing word of what we're doing is huge. I have met so many new people just from word of mouth and one person meeting somebody. I had 2 people reach out in the last few days that read my website on the back of my car and looked us up and saw what we did and of like, hey, I want to bring some books to you. The support of the community on a whole is unbelievable. But on our website, you can go in. There is a button to just donate, which does use a platform called Zephy. It is a 100% fee-free platform for donation. So if you donate $10, I get $10 to put towards the business and et cetera. There's not fees or anything along those lines. And that's the reason we kind of did that. I give everybody, and it's even in my notes on the page there. When you do donate, it does all ask if you would like to tip Zephy. It's not a requirement to do so. People are always able to do so, but it accepts all payment methods. Which was very cool. I see there that I still have my old logo there that I'm gonna have to change. That I obviously haven't been on that page in too long. And then there's also other ways that you, like I said, if it's something that you want to go on to our website, also has a Amazon wish list of some of the general items. Our toy drive flyer that we had out also had an Amazon wish list specifically for our toy drive, that we kind of concentrated the wish list on the older children because in many cases they kind of, for lack of better terms, get forgotten about. And so we kind of specifically
set this take action button here. Or?
Yeah, you can go to right at the top there. You can see take action there. Or there's also the button right beneath the comic, right in the center there is donate here. But you can get to it either way.
So when we hit the donate now, though, it brings us to where we can actually put our credit card information in to send a payment, right?
Correct. Yes.
Or donation. Okay. So guys, you'll see that you already have pre amounts here, but you're also if you're able, you can go ahead and enter in whatever amount you have, whatever your heart is telling you can do. Put that in there. And so just so you can get an idea, there's the information that it's going to ask for. And then you even have an option of doing your bank account. So you don't want to put your credit card information in, you can just have your check or your bank account information in here. And let's click on that real quick so you can see. Okay. So then you just search for your bank.
Super easy website to use. I've been very happy with it. And like I said, I originally did that because of the fee aspect, because there were quite a few other options that allowed you to do that, but then they charged back end fees. And I very simply look at it as being a nonprofit. And if somebody is wanting to donate towards our cause, if you donate $10, I don't want to say, well, hey, we got $8.50, but the donation platform took the rest.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those that because of what we do, and we've been lucky enough that even with our eBay and PayPal accounts and et cetera, they actually, for 501c3 nonprofits, they provide a lower rate. So even if you go in and purchase something on like eBay or something along those lines, they actually charge a lesser fee for 501c3 nonprofits. I've been trying to push Whatnot to do the same, and I have not gotten enough traction to do so just yet.
Well, if you need some extra signatures somewhere, you let me know, and I will be happy to sign me and share with other folks who can also sign up. So let us know on that piece. Absolutely. Look, it's getting close. I honestly, when it comes to comic books, I can keep going and going and talking. So I don't want to do that because I also want to come back, like I said, tomorrow and this weekend and do a little bit of chat and do a little bit more of this again because I want to try to help out as best as I can, right? So I'm going to make sure I do some much promo. Everyone, if you're wondering, again, why all of a sudden now, it's because I heard about JT. He donates comic books to kids. You guys know how much I love comic books, and he needs some help. A mutual friend of ours named Jack Medina, who runs Jam's Fortress Comics, he has a bunch of comics that he wants to send him. Unfortunately, the shipping was a lot more than either of them realized, and I was like, let me try to help out and see if I can get some of my viewers to help donate to JT, and the money that is donated as a result of the social and distancing show and my efforts will be used to pay for the shipping. Now, the shipping cost right now sits at about $450 between that and $500. Yeah. And all that money is going to be used 100% to pay for the shipping so that Jack can ship them from California all the way to Florida on the opposite end of the country. But he's got about, and I know this doesn't denote numbers, but he's got about 3 cases full of books that he wants to send. And they're already packed up. They're ready to go. He just needs the funds. So you can see in the scroll down here where it says donate on www.fosteredcomics.com. It'll take you to JT's website. You'll see the take action or the donate button. Click on those, fill in your information, put the denomination that you want, and have that go there. I didn't see actually, JT, was there somewhere that people can say, hey, donated, like a message or something? I don't.
There is in that you can add a note on the donation page. You can add a note to it if you'd like.
Okay. So when you guys
if it's anything that comes in the next week or so, it's all going the same place at this point.
Okay.
Jams has been amazing. He's got, I want to say it was close to 800 books that he's got that he wants to send. And
I remember it was quite a lot.
It's a massive amount of comics that would do a ton of good. It's just a matter of getting it across country.
Yeah. And guys, I know that you guys love to donate. In the past, you have helped donate so much in the past. I know we've been gone for a little while and we're getting back in, and I think this is a great place to step back in. I'm going to be putting up some posts throughout the weekend, or like JT said, he'll be taking donations for the next week to go towards getting these shipped over to him. So I will be doing everything I can as part of the Social and Distancing Show to help facilitate this information and to get money donated for you, JT, so that we can get those comics over there. Guys, this will make you feel good. You're supporting us. You're supporting these kids. These are kids in the foster care system. You know from our past, we have donated and generated gifts for kids. Also, we had a program, JT, for a few years called Christmases for Kids, where we raised funds as well to donate to the kids in the foster care system. In Lubbock, they do. I don't know how they do it in Florida, but in Lubbock, we would raise the funds. Then we'd go make all the purchases for gifts for kids between these certain ages, and then they had a room at the I don't know what they call it, but the place where the foster kids have their caseworkers, right? They have a room, a closet per se, and all the toys, all the gifts are stuffed in there. And then the caseworkers go in there and find the age appropriate gifts so they can give 3 gifts to every child in the foster care system in Lubbock. We did that, and we stuffed that room several times over from our viewers here. So I'm hoping we can generate some buzz again. We can help get the word out for you, JT. We can get some people to donate some money to help get some of those books shipped over to you before Christmas time. And that you guys, you're amazing when it comes to times like this. So, thanks for having us back. Thanks for letting us come on. Thanks for listening to us. And I hope if you have any questions, let us know. JT, they can find you on Instagram. Is that easier where to find you?
Instagram, Facebook, email is all there. Please feel free to reach out with any questions, any aspects of, like I said, any way you want to be able to support. Like I said, whether it's sharing our cause or doing something with donations themselves, we appreciate every bit of it. And we will continue hitting the ground running. Like I said, we're about 9 months into the nonprofit, and between our suitcase drive that we did, our first give back event, we gave away a trailer worth of gifts to about 50 families. And this toy drive, it's going to be over 100 kids that are getting taken care of. Our shop is actually, our parent shop is tomorrow night, where the parents will come in to kind of very similar setup. Everything's separated out by age groups. They'll come in and they'll be able to choose gifts for the kids in their home. And I think there's well over 100 kids that are signed up that we're doing the shopping event tomorrow night for. So
nice. Well, JT, I want to say thank you again for coming on such short notice, but I hope that we can help you out. And like I said, I'll be on tomorrow night or this weekend. I'll be on one more time this weekend at least, so that I can try to help get the word out and see if we can get some buzz and get some more money, honestly, because that's what we need, everyone, is money. Okay. And
I appreciate it very much. And I would be happy to come on and talk comics with you anytime.
Awesome.
It's an absolute pleasure. So
thank you so much, JT. I'm going to put you in the green room, so just stick around there while I close out here and end the show, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you again. All right, everyone. So I'm really happy that I was able to come back on. I'm really glad I found someone who has the passion and the drive to really connect kids and comic books. Comic books was such an integral part of my childhood. My mother is such an awesome woman, okay? And so when I think about comics, like I've said before, I have nothing but good memories in terms of the larger picture. I think about how my mom introduced me to my first comic book, about how she bought my first subscription, about how she took me to the comic shop all the time to buy books, and she was helping me figure out which collections to get. So there's just all these positive memories, and I'm glad that as I continue to age, that I will have comic books around, and it'll be a healthy, good reminder of my mom and all the goodness that they bring. And so the idea that JT and Foster Comics is kind of doing something similar for foster kids, that just rings out to me. So please, if you got some extra dollars, if it's $1, great. If it's $100, awesome. Our goal is $450. If we can raise that money, we're going to be able to send, like I said, about 800 books to JT and Foster Comics for those kids. So, but hey, thank you, everyone. I love you. Thanks for letting us come back, and I hope to see you again here in either tomorrow night or one of the days this weekend, okay? So love y'all, and Merry Christmas.